What I thought I would also do today as a centerpiece, not the primer, but just as one of the primer aspects of the talk today would be to show in a visual demonstration briefly some examples of fluids and both their pH and some other features or things related to whether they're useful for us or not as good for us. Now, my intent is not to disparage in particular one brand, whether it's 7-Up or Dr. Pepper or whatever it is, but I will say that all sodas are not good for us, and you'll see in a minute why that is. I mean, they may taste good. People get habituated to drinking those quite often. But people are drinking less of them, just like they're eating less meats, as an example, just like they're smoking less. And you'll notice, for example, soda companies are buying up water companies or water products. This is a Coke brand, Smart Water is. This is a Coke brand. This is a Coke brand. That's just examples of that. This is Pepsi's water version, Aquafina. Okay? And these are just random examples supposed to suggest just popular water brands. Sharon, I'm going to need to get in there, honey. If you could move the container too. What I wanted to share with you first of all, which I didn't go into. Thank you.
Alkaline water selected.
Is there's 4 features associated with the process of ionization. First of all, the water is separated into 2 channels. Highly alkaline channel from somewhere between an 8 and about a 10.5. That's the range that we have available to us through this process of ionization that happens with one of these ionizers. This happens to be the best in the world that I'm aware of. It's called the Athena from IonWays. The parent company of this is Emcotech, which has been in business, I believe it's for 33 years, largest producer of ionizers in the world. They give a lifetime warranty. It's not about sales of the machine. I've never pressured anybody to buy a machine that's come in here. Having said that, we've sold a lot of them because people often want it when they garner the value, when they become aware of the value, empirically, not just theoretically, not just the educational piece. They often want more of it, and they want it as fresh as they can get it. As I started to say, the features of ionization are that the water is separated into 2 channels, highly alkaline for internal use and an acidic channel for external use, as a topical agent, as a disinfectant, if you will, and to help to preserve the acid mantle of the skin, and you can use it as a throat gargle or a nasal rinse or those kinds of things. The second feature of ionization is that there's an imparted electric charge to the water safely in millivolts, and that elicits what are called free electrons that neutralize what are commonly referred to as free radicals. Very, very highly antioxidant. I'm going to show you that in a minute. The next feature, it's highly oxygenated, and it's altered in its molecular clustered structure for better absorption. Much different in its structural size. Think of a tennis ball being thrown at a chain link fence or pushed through because of the size, or marbles being thrown at a chain link fence that you throw hard enough to get to the other side. Very, very different in terms of the absorption, as the analogy would go. All features of ionization, this natural process that occurs in nature that's being replicated with ionization for the last 30 to 40 years, that can be brought into one's home, is to me the most important health invention in the last 40 years. Now, that's saying a lot. I'm not talking about technological advances. I'm talking about health appliance because of all the things we've talked about today, because it's a very acidic world. Why is it? Because 85 years ago and back, we were an agrarian society in this country. 40% of the people lived on the land. Nowadays, it's 2%. Then we got up with the sun, we went down with the sun, meaning that we didn't have computers, we didn't have televisions, we didn't have video games, we didn't have microwaves. We lived on larger plots of land. We didn't eat as many processed and packaged foods, and our soils were much more replete with value. I'm going to show you now These are pH reagent drops. They're called polyphenol drops. They look like everything that they're going to come in contact with will turn a crimson red, because they are crimson red. But watch. And you're right in the beginning. Red, red, red. But you're going to see that there's going to be some variances in color. The healthiest and longest living people on the planet live between, drink between a 9 and 10.5 pH water. We already talked about. So this is supposed to represent purple. This is a little bit faded right here, but let's just take from 10. Okay, from the this is a logarithmic scale. It's like a Richter scale. Okay, for earthquakes. The difference between, on a logarithmic scale, between one digit to the next is considerably different. From 10 to 9 is 10 times different towards the acidic. It's still alkaline considerably, but if we're moving in that direction, it's 10 times more towards the acidic. Between 10 and 8, it's 100 times more towards the acidic. 7, 1,000, 6, 10,000, 5, 100,000 times more acidic than a 10. A 4 is 1,000,000 times more acidic on a logarithmic scale than a 10 pH, and a 3 is 10 million times more acidic than a 10 pH. So you look at this, and this is about a 2.5 to 3. It's over 10 million times more acidic, at the least 10 million times more acidic than a 10 pH. Now, in this time of Madoff billions and bailout trillions, numbers get pretty wacky. Okay? We're not quite sure how to relate. It's unfathomable to me, those kinds of numbers, a lot of times. But think of it. Penta is a 4 pH, or 3.5 maybe. This is about a 4, 4.5. This is about a 5. This is about a 4. This gets into neutral or slightly alkaline. It's not blue, it's green, so it's about a 7.5, would you say? Somewhere in there? Now you get our highest setting. By setting, I mean on the Athena ionizer we have 4 settings, a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. A 1 correlates to about an 8 pH, a 2 about an 8 3/4, 3 about a 9.5, 4 about a 10 to a 10.5. Okay, do you follow what I mean by different settings? So I put it on the 4 for demonstration purposes, but most people that come in here drink a 4. They move their way up to a 4. Now, I want to show you a couple of things very briefly. This is supposed to be analogous, if you will, to people's blood chemistry. They're running acidic. So look at how quickly something that's oxygenated, hydrating because of the way in which it's been altered in its structure, highly antioxidant, and highly alkaline influences something like somebody's blood chemistry very quickly. Now, in fairness, just as an example, in fairness, I want to say that the water, all by itself, isn't always enough to completely change somebody's blood chemistry. You can't live an inverted lifestyle and expect everything to turn around. I have a gentleman that comes in that has gout, and he doesn't know. He's never had an appointment with me. Gout for me, to me, is actually very easy most of the time, except that we live in a pretty acidic world. So it isn't so easy for that reason. And I asked him about his dietary regimen the other day because I said, "You're limping." He said, "Well, I got some pain." He says, "Better than it was." But he said, I said, "What do you eat for breakfast?" He says, "Eggs." I said, "Okay." He says, "Rice." I said, "But so far acidic." Okay. He says, "Sometimes a little fish." I said, "Acidic." He said, "So far you're telling me everything that's acidic." Now, it's hard to get away from those things, but not near enough vegetables, too many fruits, because sugar is, I mean, it's fruit sugar in his case, and he likes it because it's summertime. It comes from Hawaii and so forth, but it's no good. He used to drink too much alcohol. That set the stage for it. Too many meats and too much alcohol. So he didn't know, but inadvertently, unintentionally, he was contributing to why he was maintaining that condition and hoping that drinking the water and getting enough for a week was going to suffice. What I didn't finish on earlier was the features of ionization only last for 2 days. except for the alkalinity feature. The imparted electric charge, the electrons that neutralize free radicals, that antioxidant feature, the altered structure for producing micro water for better hydration, and the oxygenation go away within 2 days. You don't have that freshness. It's like chaos is created in the water, and then it reorganizes itself, if you will. That's the best way I can say it. Okay? So you still get some alkalinity. I have some people come in buy it by the week because that's what their schedule affords them. Yes? But I tell them unequivocally that it's not going to be as fresh, but for them, they still feel like it's better than most of the water they can find out in the world when they go after it. So let me show you by comparison something else here.